There's an incredibly popular game that carries a thick fog of tension in the air. You stand alone in this game, but you can interact with other players to increase your chances of surviving until the end. Here's the catch. You can never be fully sure whether someone shares your interests, or whether they are merely pretending to be your friend to gain an advantage. The thrill of this game comes from structured deception that's built into the game's rules. Players are explicitly designed to deceive, and everyone knows that deception is an expected mechanic. If it wasn't obvious, I'm not talking about arcraiders. I'm talking about the social deduction game Among Us. Here's the quickest recap ever on how Among Us works. You're a crewmate completing tasks with your team. A few players are imposters, pretending to help while secretly sabotaging and eliminating you. Crewmates win by identifying the imposters. Imposters win through deception and murder. What makes Among Us so much fun isn't just the reveals, it's that constant underlying deception. You have to trust people to survive, but you can never trust them completely. When you're right, it feels great. When you're wrong, and you realize you've been masterfully deceived, it's devastating. The push and pull of trust and betrayal is the entire heart of the game. Arcraiders, on the other hand, runs on something different: organic deception. No one is told to betray you. No player is assigned a secret role. The game doesn't force anyone to lie or ambush you. Instead, deception grows naturally out of player choice. The environment, the incentives, the risk of losing gear, and social pressures that rise out of proximity chat. This is what makes arcraiders solos feel so tense and unpredictable. Every encounter is an unscripted social experiment, not a predefined roleplay scenario. In this video, we'll be focusing on purely the solo experience. As we all know, trios is much more of a bloodbath. Unlike Among Us, where deception is a feature written into the rules, Arcraiders creates those same feelings through player behavior alone. The game doesn't tell anyone to be friendly or hostile. Players invent those roles themselves, and that's why every encounter feels personal. It's not a mechanic, it's a choice. Are you really friendly, or are you just pretending to be so you can betray me as we extract? In my experience, most raiders really are friendly, and you can take them at face value. But it's the fact that I have been betrayed that keeps these interactions tense and exciting. That's what reminds me about Among Us. Every raid feels unique not because of the loot, the map, or the arc. It's the unpredictability of players' behaviors that create new storylines each game. But here's where the problem comes in. Many solo players are refusing to engage in PvP, and believe that those who do not want to engage in it should not be attacked. At the time of recording this video, only 45% of players have eliminated 10 raiders. That's less than half the total player count. I realize that these figures are slightly skewed because anyone who boots up the game one time is taken into account here, but I still think that there's a large enough buffer to say that a huge portion of the active player base hasn't reached this achievement. This figure in itself isn't inherently bad. There's no issue with not wanting to fight other players. The issue lies with the group that says nobody should fight other players if they identify themselves as friendly. Ironically, if this vocal portion of the player base got their way and solos became a peace-at-all-costs zone, I think this would destroy the game, and here's why. Players form alliances as it immediately removes a threat to whatever your objective is that raid. Fighting other raiders is risky and resource costly, not to mention that it makes a lot of noise to attract third-party raiders, as well as Arc. So let's all just decide to be friendly and we can all go about achieving whatever we set out to do. Sounds great, right? But now you don't really have any reason to use proximity chat. Everyone is your friend, so why bother asking to be one? There's no tense moment now when you run into another raider, no Mexican standoff to figure out if your values are aligned. If nobody can betray you, then trust becomes meaningless. You might be yelling at your screen right now saying, well, you can still team up to fight the larger arc, and yeah, sure. But the reality is, once you've progressed enough through the game, you don't need that much help anyway, thanks to these guys. So now you don't need to talk to anyone. You load into your raid and run straight to the highest loot zone. You take what you need, shoot a few arc, and run back to your extraction point where you're guaranteed to get back safely to Speranza. The loot you do find is now meaningless, because all it does is make arc easier to destroy. And even that doesn't seem fun anymore, because there's no outside risk attached to it. Suddenly, the game is just a quiet, loot farming simulator. No risk, no interaction, no mistrust, no adrenaline, no payoff. Entirely predictable and one note. And when every raid becomes predictable, what reason would you really have to play the game? It's one of the reasons why the developers moved away from making Arcraiders a PvE-only game. They wanted a game that fostered player interaction. But without social tension, the game not only wasn't exciting enough, it collapsed the incentive to interact at all. They needed social friction to create an experience that felt meaningful and unique every raid. Don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that I want solos to turn into a massacre like trios. Too much PvP in solos will have the same outcome as no PvP. Constant hostility also removes the need for proximity chat. Why bother asking if anyone is friendly if everyone just kills on sight? No cooperation just turns every player into a target, removing all personality and variety. There's no storytelling in constant violence. Not to mention new players would have an awful time loading into their first raids. We just have a third-person Tarkov on our hands, and that's what we're trying to avoid. What will keep this game thriving is a balance of mostly friendly and neutral encounters, with a minority of these being hostile. Arcraiders solos shine when trust is possible, but never guaranteed. Those moments where you die to another raider that feel terrible are what make the friendships feel so good. Being killed on sight, betrayed by someone you thought was a friend, or by being extract camped by the rattiest of rats. They're all heartbreaking or rage-inducing moments, but they are what prop up the moments of real, positive connection. Reading players' social cues and forming trust on that rickety bridge is what makes this game special. The possibility of betrayal is what gives alliances and friendship meaning. It's this Among Us energy that is crucial to preserve the spark of Arcraiders. Remove the danger, and the trust disappears with it. Keep the danger, and every raid keeps its story. We, the players, are the ones who keep that danger alive. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.